Hey YouTube, welcome to another episode of Celebrity Birthdays. And a little update. And no, it's not about anything that's happening this year. That's ridiculous. It's not good to bring that up anyway. It's this really interesting thing. I got a new phone. Well, it's not really new. It used to be my dad's, but ever since he passed away, my mom and I decided that I should have it. So we were able to factory reset it, and now it's mine. So yeah, it's a really good phone. I still liked my old phone previously, but I still preferred Apple products more. So yeah. So I'm using this phone for any episodes of the M&S show and celebrity birthdays. Speaking of that, I'm doing a lot more this year, and even doing this one. So yeah, here we are. Today is April 2nd, 2020, which means it's the 45th birthday of Deedee Magno Hall. The one role I know her for is the voice of Pearl, as well as other variants of pearls, including blue pearl, yellow pearl, and even pink pearl. She also did hollow pearl, which I thought sounded really awesome. Especially how she's like, parry, parry, thrust, thrust. That always made me laugh. And I also like Pearl because I can almost relate to her. I'm a little overprotective in some things, like she is with Steven. In fact, the reason why is because since I have a disability, I'm pretty protective of things I have in my possession. All game consoles, the games themselves, just about anything out there. But at least I'm not the only one who has that kind of problem. So yeah, that's why I like Pearl. She also appeared in all 3 Steven Universe games, including Steven Universe Attack the Light for the iOS and Android devices, which I actually did get. It's really fun. As well as Steven Universe Save the Light, which was released for the PC, the Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. And it's a really fun game. I actually got it recently, about a few months ago, I think. And I especially like the dialogue. It's really good. And I especially like when you're talking to Pearl, she says stuff like, oh, yes! And I also like how when you're using her spear toss attack, she's like, no, wait for it. And sometimes she's like, ha! It's a really interesting quote from Pearl. Sometimes I like to say, wait for it. Even coming up with this interesting quote from Neil Patrick Harris. It's legend, wait for it, dairy. Sometimes I say that. And fellow YouTuber Hobby Hangover, I brought him up in my video for Zach Callison, Michaela Dietz, and Shelby Rabara. They also met Deedee Magno Hall. And she called it Emily and Zoe, Connie and Steven, since they were dressed up as the 2 characters. And she asked if she could take a picture with them. And even said, you're the smallest Steven I ever seen. Which makes sense, because at the time, Zoe was only 1 year old. Still a baby. And when they tried to get a picture with Deedee, Zoe kept walking away because she was a little shy. And then they just tried to get her in the picture. No, they weren't doing anything harsh. But she did cry. Probably because she was too shy. After all, if I were her age, I probably would have cried. And when they finally got the picture, Hobby Hangover kept telling Zoe to look at him. And saying, look at Daddy! It was just still funny. And finally, when they took a picture, Deedee's like, cheese! It's like, cheeseburger backpack! Cheeseburger backpack! Which is a reference to the Steven Universe episode, Cheeseburger Backpack. I always liked that chant. I also heard some really interesting facts about her on Wikipedia, including that she appeared as Jasmine in the musical version of one of my favorite Disney movies, Aladdin. And I heard her singing it, and she sounds really good. Another thing is that she has 2 sons, which I did hear because she did mention in an interview once that sometimes when her sons are watching Steven Universe, sometimes they get confused whether it's their mom talking or her character talking, which is pretty funny. After all, why not get a little confused sometimes? It's a little comical even. Another thing, her family are Filipino. I always wanted to see the Philippines. I hear it's a really beautiful place. All the beautiful speeches and just about everything. Even with those silly urban legends. But it doesn't matter. I never believed in urban legends anyway. And I'm sure Deedee wouldn't either. So, Deedee Magno Hall, I hope you have a great birthday. And I hope you have fun with your friends and family. And I hope you enjoy continuing on with the voice acting, even after Steven Universe was over. Yes, I did hear about that. I actually read about the ending online, and Steven's still gonna be in the M&S show, but there will be episodes where he doesn't appear due to the fact that he's still traveling. But he'll still come back, I promise. That's how I was able to figure out what to do. So that's why I figured out something easy. But anyway, happy birthday, Deedee Magno Hall. And here's one of my favorite quotes from Pearl.
What are you all doing? Steven is falling! He needs our help! I'll catch you, Steven!
Also, I forgot to mention, on my YouTube channel in the M&S show, each of the characters are going to have their own fusions, similar to how each of the gems are like. Like, for example, Mario and Peach would be Marich, similar to how Amethyst called Steven and Connie's fusion Stevani. And there's also going to be Sunny's, which is a fusion between Sonic and Elise. And the Werepire, the fusion between Sonic the Werehog and Elise the Vampire. And there's going to be more. I haven't thought of really good ones. Like Yuli, which is a fusion of Yuka and Laylee. Bazooey, as you could probably tell, is a fusion of Banjo and Kazooie, etc., etc. I thought of this idea because I kept thinking, if the gems were to appear, why can't each of the characters have their own fusions too? Because after all, a lot of characters who appeared in the M&S show actually came with a lot of quirks. Like Ali Rose and Camilla joining in. That led to a lot of interesting things, including with Mario hanging with Camilla and Sonic hanging with Ali Rose sometimes. So there has to be a quirk with this. And that's what I came up with. So yeah, I hope you like them. And I think you'll like the voices too.